Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. This will be my extended thoughts on Black Adam. Definitely audio only and maybe a little rambly, but this movie, not terrible, but not great. And I think its biggest flaw, its biggest detriment is definitely the lack of depth, whether it be in the story or the characters or both. It really makes it hard for me to be emotionally invested in anything that's happening with the JSA or even Black Adam because we just don't spend the necessary time with these people. And it's like you have 4 new characters plus Black Adam plus the generic villain plus the 3 generic humans that are an extension of the people of Kahndaq in the audience. All of these people, and I leave this 2-hour flick feeling like I know none of them outside of Black Adam, maybe. And that's a testament to the poor writing. It's really bad, and that's why I said that this film is reminiscent of a Fast and Furious movie. You're gonna get great action scenes, but there's no depth. There's nothing else there. And for me, I've learned to accept that. With Fast and Furious, I've learned to accept the absurdity. But it's different with Black Adam because it's DC Comics. These legacy characters and stories have so much richness to them. And I love it. I grew up with these characters. And I feel like a lot of them were done a disservice. So I can't accept surface level bullshit, with this movie. I can't enjoy the film like that. You know what I mean? We could start with the characters. Black Adam, he was cool. I felt like, I don't know. His action scenes were great. I think my favorite part of the film was his origin story and learning about Kahndaq and their mythology and their lore and just being able to get invested in that. Unfortunately, the Kahndaq and its people and how they rally around Black Adam and how they respect him and everything like that. Unfortunately, that wasn't made a critical part of the story, and it should have been. Like, there should have been a moment in the film when Sabacc comes to be and takes the throne, right? The people should have been the one rallying against him, not fighting off his little demons or whatever that he unleashed onto the ground. Like, looking at him and saying, we don't accept you. Or maybe they do accept him, and then Black Adam turns him back. Like, there was potential, and it wasn't utilized at all. So it kind of sucks. Let's see. The Rock, I felt like he did good. I don't know if his humor moments really landed. It was more so physical gags, so it definitely got me on that. But like him trying to be sarcastic, it didn't really work. And that's so bizarre because typically, The Rock can do that kind of thing. He can pull off, being sarcastic, or he can pull off that vocal performance. And I guess he just wanted to be true to the character. So in that sense, it's fine. Honestly, I take it back. His humor moments worked. I felt like it worked. There was a moment when the Rock's face was clearly deep faked onto a body of lesser mass than The Rock. And it was so obvious and so hilarious. I couldn't believe that we were watching this take place. And my problem with it is it comes at a pivotal point in Black Adam's origin story when we find out that he was not originally chosen to be Shazam or hold the powers of Shazam. I'm sorry. It was his son, right? That's when this deep fake body double comes in, and it's so awkward and so uncomfortable. And they keep the camera on him for a long period of time. I thought they were just going to have it be a one-off thing and we move on, but it wasn't. Like, they kept the camera on him, and I'm like, why? It looks so bad. And this is during a very important part of the story. So it really took away from the importance that was going on when we find out, that his son was the original Black Adam, not him. So it was just weird, but he was fine. Other than that, he was fine. Who's next? Carter Hall / Hawkman. I thought performance-wise, the actor did great. I think his name is Aldous Hodge. He did great for what he had. I loved his suit. I loved that he kept the mask on because, some of these actors don't like to keep the mask on. But he wore it every single time they went to battle, and I love it. It looked goofy, but it looked great. I loved it. As far as him as a character, we just didn't get enough time with him. We didn't really learn much about him. And there were plenty of moments where we could have had that, and we didn't. So I don't know. I want to know how he amassed so much fortune to where he has a freaking estate, right? What was his time like on Thanagar? How did he first come across nth metal? How did he first make his mace? Or questions like that were not even touched on, let alone answered. So it left a lot to be desired, but he was great in the action scenes, and I liked his back and forth with Black Adam. And I did like his friendship with Dr. Fate, right? Who is next. Dr. Fate also left a lot to be desired. I know a lot of people really, really like Pierce Brosnan's portrayal, and they were like his favorite character. I'm pretty indifferent. He wasn't really in costume that much, which I understand. When he was, it looked great, but there was just nothing to go on. We didn't even explore his history with Naboo, the helmet. We barely got anything on his friendship with Carter, though I did, the dynamic, the chemistry was great between the actors, so it helped a little bit. We certainly didn't get an idea of, what brought him to be a part of the JSA, Tower of Fate, all of these things. We just got nothing. And then you have the gall to kill him off. And I'm looking is this supposed to resonate with me? Because emotionally, I'm not there. We didn't spend enough time with this character. We know little to nothing about Dr. Fate. And you want me to feel some type of way off his death? No. You can't simply bank off of his decades-long friendship with Hawkman when that is paper thin, it doesn't work. But he looked great. I did like Brosnan's portrayal. What he did with the character, with what he had, was a good start. But yeah, the character was just paper thin. Next, we have the human lady, the mother, the generic, I said human lady, the generic mother. I don't know. She was there. She was very reckless. There was a point in the film where she's hunting after the crown of Sabacc, right? This is the main object that everybody's gunning for. The inner gang, everybody, right? This is what's moving the plot. So she has the crown of Sabacc. Obviously, she's a target. And in great wisdom, she decides it's a phenomenal idea to place this crown in her son's backpack and then send him home. So you knowingly make your son a target by having this crown on him, and he's off somewhere alone. You're not even near him. He's off going home. And then you're surprised when he gets kidnapped. Her recklessness, her being irresponsible is really what kicks off the back half of the film, because Amon being kidnapped, her son, because, he had the crown, that's what kicks off the third act of the movie. So it's weird. All right. Next is Amon. Like I said in my initial reaction, he was very annoying. He was one of the characters, or really the only one, that was truly aggravating. His dialogue was just cringe, trying to give Black Adam, punchlines, trying to explain his powers and everything. He's a mega fanboy of DC characters, and it didn't work. He could have been left out of the film. I couldn't get into his relationship with Black Adam. It didn't work. And he was supposed to be one of the emotional cores of the movie, and it just failed, in my opinion. He was one of the worst characters in the movie, definitely. He was the worst, honestly. He was the worst because he was just so annoying. So then we have Atom Smasher. Like I said in my initial reaction, I really enjoyed what Noah Centineo brought to the character. We still don't know much about him. He's paper thin, but I really liked how he looked. I love that he wore the mask. I don't know, it worked. It worked for me. Atom Smasher worked. He just needed more. Because I feel like if you took him and Cyclone out of the film, I wouldn't have even blinked, yeah. So maybe they'll get into him down the line, but he did good. And I wasn't expecting a lot from Noah Centineo, but I feel like he did good. Okay, so Sabacc was pretty generic, honestly. He was just kind of brought about for third act CGI fight. They did nothing interesting with him, and they could have, like I mentioned earlier, with the people of Kahndaq and everything. I don't know. It's weird. He was just there. He came about in the third act and whatever. Like, he looked great. His design was great, but him and Black Adam's fight was very lackluster. Moving on. Cyclone. So Cyclone was okay. Again, paper thin. Like, there was a point in the film where her and Atom Smasher are talking, and she just throws out, like, casual line, "Oh, when I was 15, a mad scientist kidnapped me and injected me with nanobots." And we're like, oh, that's pretty important. That's sad. That's traumatic. Like, what? We're thinking we're going to spend like a couple minutes diving into this to learn a bit more about her and how she got to this place in her life on being a part of the JSA. But no, Atom Smasher looks at her and he's like, "Oh, wow, that sucks." And then we just move on. And I'm like, what? No, I want to learn about this. Because I think in the comics, she's related to Red Tornado. I would have liked to have learned about that. Like, so many things. And the slow-mo with her was absolutely obnoxious. Like, the first 2 times, it was fine. It was great. It showed off to her the colors, how her powers worked. She looked amazing. She looked beautiful. And she was kicking ass. But every single action scene, they used the slow-mo with her. And after the second time, I was like, okay, we get it. Let's just see it play out. You know what I mean? It was just, ugh. But that's a minor annoyance. It didn't take away from my overall enjoyment. Let's see. The second human character, he was the brother of the mother. He was, there to provide comedic relief. He was whatever. I don't have much to say on him. Okay, so what's it called? I'm trying to think of who else. I feel like I covered everyone. There was just a lot of potential with this movie, like I said, and it was kind of squandered. Like, there's a point where the JSA comes in and they're like, "We're here to save the day." And the mother comes up and she's like, "Where the hell have you been? We've been pretty much under martial law for over 2 decades, and the JSA was nowhere to be found. But now you're here trying to stop someone who actually gives a damn about us and is actually making a difference." Like, that in itself, that could have taken up the rest of your film. Just going into that. the hypocrisy surrounding the JSA, the reverence they hold for Black Adam, all of that. And it was kind of just left to the wayside. Let's backpedal to Amanda Waller. Someone commented on my initial reaction video and pretty much just highlighted how I felt about Amanda Waller and her role in the DCEU. I do not like that she can just call upon the JSA, call upon Superman whenever she wants to go do her bidding. That is not Amanda Waller. Amanda Waller works on behalf of the government and her own self-interest. She will throw expendable bodies out there to solve her problem, right? That's it. She doesn't have just control over the Justice League and she can just call them whenever she wants. She doesn't have control over Superman, who would not take shit from Amanda Waller unless he felt like he did something morally wrong, right? He would not take that shit. Batman certainly wouldn't, and he's a part of the Justice League, so I don't even know how that works. The rest of them wouldn't. It's very out of character for her to just have access to all of these heroes at will. She's not an overseer of superheroes. She's not like Nick Fury, like at all. And I hate that they placed her in this role. It's very weird. It's not fitting at all. The comment that is shown on screen pretty much explains it perfectly. Superman, the post-credit scene, it did make me a little giddy. I'm not gonna lie. He looked absolutely incredible. I just loved it so much. He looked absolutely incredible. The colors were vibrant. The suit was beautiful. I've missed the red and blue because one thing with Snyder, I was not really a fan of his portrayal of Superman, nor Batman really, nor Wonder Woman. Anyways, but with his vision of Superman, he was very dark, he was very dreary, and he lacked a lot of color. Everything was very muted, and that's just the opposite of Superman. So to see him here with the bright ass suit, Henry Cavill confirms he's back. He had the curl in his hair. I was on heaven for like 10 seconds. It was great. It was wonderful. Now, that being said, okay. Okay, he's here, but where has he been? And this means nothing if we don't get a Man of Steel 2. And I won't believe that there's a Man of Steel 2 until we get a trailer and a release date, period. Oh yeah, one more thing. The exposition / narration. Oh my goodness. I mean, from the opening scene, when we had narration concerning Black Adam's origin, I could accept that. Cool, great. But when they were forming the JSA and they literally came together just like the Suicide Squad, exposition and all, I had to roll my eyes a little internally and cringe. I was like, really? This is how we're going to learn about these characters from Hawkman? It can't just happen naturally in conversation and dialogue because these people, they don't know each other. It would be one thing if the team were already familiar with one another, but they aren't. So this is a perfect opportunity for you to give us insight on these people through natural interactions. And that didn't happen. But also, the crazy part is the chemistry with the actors I felt like was really good. Like I really liked how they all interacted with one another. It felt very natural. Unfortunately, they didn't use that to their advantage. And instead, we just had info dumps every 30 minutes. I was like, let's see. I think that's it. This movie it's just average. It's very average. My rating is going to stay at a 6.5. I don't know if I would see this again. I think I would just watch all the action scenes on YouTube. Yeah. So I'll catch you guys later. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to my rambles. I'll see you guys later. Bye.